The smell of fresh brewed coffee percolates your senses as you step into the bookstore. To the left, a cafe sits atop of a dais. To the right, an endless sea of racks and shelves. You cross the floor and enter an aisle. Fantasy titles flash by, and you hear the muffled sound of a couple arguing the merits of Twilight fan fiction. Take a left, then a right, and there it is. The coolness of climate-controlled cardboard spreads through your grip as you pick the book up. On its cover is a highly detailed illustration of a mysterious character. Scrolled across the header in a strange script, it reads, Dungeons and Dragons. If you're watching this video, it's probably a safe bet you're wondering what this whole Dungeons and Dragons thing is all about. Maybe you have a child, a spouse, a friend, someone in your life who is interested in playing it and you have no idea what it's all about. Or maybe you've been living under a rock. What is Dungeons and Dragons? What is any tabletop role-playing game for that matter? The important thing to remember when exploring the realm of tabletop gaming, don't limit yourself by thinking of it in terms of playing a video game. Many of the video games you played today are in some way inspired by Dungeons and Dragons or some other tabletop role-playing game. This whole thing got its birth in wargaming, which is mechanics heavy and tactical based. Some nerds got together and decided to take those war games and turn it into something that was more like a choose-your-own-adventure book that allowed you to play out what you thought the story should be. Over the years, it's grown into something different altogether, where people focus a lot more on the collaborative storytelling part of it. And I think where a lot of videos on how to play go wrong is they treat it as a set of mechanics rather than the collaborative story. The modern idea of a tabletop role-playing game is to create a fictional character and play them through this fantastic world. You travel through wondrous lands and you play in these amazing settings and you sit around a table together and you tell a story. You create something that no one has ever created before, and you can't do that with a video game. Now, the thing to keep in mind is mechanics are important, but they're there to facilitate the outcome. The rules should never limit the possibilities at your table. And then when you throw in the dice, it creates a level of randomness and drama that you wouldn't get in a video game or just by doing some improv classes. And I just want to take a moment to say, if you are enjoying this video and find it helpful in any way, please hit that like button and please share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, to get started, what you want to think about is what type of game do you want to play? Because there are a lot of different games out there. Is it Dungeons and Dragons or is it something completely different? You might not like what Dungeons and Dragons has to offer, but that doesn't mean there isn't a game out there that you will like. Now think about what type of genre and theme you would like to play in. Do you want to play through a horror game? Do you want to play through epic high fantasy or something futuristic? Do you dream of electric sheep or do you want to hang out with some dragons? It's all up to you. You want to figure out if you want to play something that is more mechanics heavy. You are interested in the math and the specifics of building your character and how the rules apply to that. Or do you want to play something that's a little lighter there and more focused on the role play and how you act out your character and do you come up with a voice? Think about those things really before you dive into this. Now comes playing the game. The first thing you want to do there is decide the role you want to play at the table. Do you want to be someone who runs the game or do you just want to play? Then think about the type of setting you want to play in. There's so much out there, so it doesn't make sense to just settle on the first thing you come across. Do you want something that's homebrewed or do you want something that is published and is something that has a bunch of resources and backstory already filled in for you? Then it's the most fun part of this whole thing, which is creating your character. When you create your character, think of the concept that you want to create first, then flesh them out. And then once you're done with that, you can figure out what mechanics apply to those things instead of trying to come up with a backstory that makes sense for the mechanics you chose. Now that you have some basic understanding of what tabletop role-playing is, do some more research. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there on different types of games, different systems and settings, different play styles. Watch some more videos. In the next video, I'm going to cover the basics of gameplay, not really specifically mechanics, but just how the game unfolds at the table. As this series carries on, we'll get into more details, but for now, let's start simple. Thank you for spending your time with me. Stay tuned for some follow-up videos on how to get started playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'll publish more soon, so I'll see you in the next one.